What?
That means it's recording and it's hearing what you're saying. All right, here we go. So we have her set up.
Cool.
All right. Is it recording?
Yes, it is.
All right, cool. All right, so we're gonna put red in the hot. I bet I gotta take them off here.
Oh, really cool.
This is new. All right, so did everyone write down at least one prediction on what would happen in 3 questions? If you have not, you need to be writing that down in your sketchbooks. You need to have illustrated the setup that we have. Yep, I see a few of you realizing, oh, I still need to do that. Get that done here while I add food coloring.
That's so cool.
What's that?
That was cool.
It is so cool.
That's a big bottle of blue dye.
Well, we want it nice and blue, right? We want to think cold when we look at this.
I'll come back to you.
Now, like I said, I got most of a 5-gallon bucket on each side. We will try to get it a little more full next time.
That's what it looks like when the crime scene's in the water. Like crime scenes in the water.
Mr. Tim's going to stir it just slightly to get speeded up. All right, is that looking pretty blue?
Yeah.
That's looking pretty blue?
Here's the other side. The red.
And that's looking pretty red?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I think to add some effect to this, we're going to go ahead and do that.
Whoa.
Pretty! Now, if you'll notice, we're recording temp over here, so we have our hot temp in red. That worked out well. I didn't even plan that. The cold temperature is in orange. Okay? Now, you'll notice that we have some temps in between the green and the blue. The green is the one that's down here. The blue is the one that's not even submerged in the water. I'm going to try to adjust him. I thought he was going to be a little higher. So what I want to do is I want to put him right at the top of the liquid. We got one deep diver, we got one shallow swimmer. About like that. That might be about as good as we can get it. That might be about as good as we can get it. Okay? Boy, that affected things though, didn't it? Did you see him spike?
Straight up.
Yes, okay. Has everyone made their predictions?
I have one more.
Okay, go ahead and write it down. We want to get it going before we...
My prediction will the color will change into one beautiful different color.
Sweet.
It'll change to purple.
Now, I don't like here. I need to come up with some sort of method. Maybe if I do this. I want this guy just barely sticking into the water.
And try to beat me up.
There. That guy's just barely sticking in the water, but we're still getting a temp. So we got a top, we got a deep diver. You guys ready to pull the paddle?
No.
Are we still recording?
We're still recording.
Oh, sweet. All right. Here we go. I'm going to hit start. And at 10 seconds, I'm going to pull the paddle. Okay? You count down. Count it up to 10.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Prediction was right.
The bottom is going under, the red's going on top.
Wait, here.
No, really?
Yeah, actually.
There it is. That's cool.
That's actually.
Isn't that cool?
What?
Wait, it's
Nah.
moving. Wait, it's switching spots.
Whoa, now it's like rotating again.
Oh, now it's
You're gonna
moving.
switch spots.
Yeah.
It's like the ocean's like.
Yeah, the conveyor thing.
Mm-hmm.
Very good. The ocean conveyor, right? Now, so what's happening with the cold?
It is going to one side and going towards the bottom.
Now, what happened when the cold hit that side?
It turned
stopped.
purple.
Yeah, it like... Oh, is it turning
No,
purple?
it's still
No.
No, it's blue and red.
I see a little bit of purple.
Oh, now it's getting taken
Get
over
it
by...
from this angle.
Trimmed red.
That's...
Now,
Actually, it's blue.
That is
Red's
true
beating
red.
up
Now
blue.
that side's turning.
All right, so I heard a discussion of the ocean conveyor. So the cold water. What's true about the cold water's density?
It's denser.
Okay, it's denser than the hot water. So as a result of that, what's happening with that cold water? It sinks down, right? And the hot water rises. Even though that happens, has it stopped moving?
No.
Whoa, it's going up again.
Make some observations. Write some, as you're watching, don't stop watching, but in your notes, write down what you saw within that first minute and a half. What did we see? Write some observations. Don't talk right now. Just write what you see. Just write what you see. Yeah? Oh, excuse me. Oh boy, our temperature stopped. Did you see that? Our temperature stopped taking. All right, I'm going to append the latest. You're going to see massive differences.
Whoa.
It stopped taking temperature.
Did you just break the thing?
No, I didn't break it.
Bo, you must.
I had to. What I did is I had to hit play again. I'm not sure what happened. I don't know if I bumped it. So we're going to have a period of time in there from about 200 seconds to 360 seconds where we had no recordings. But look at the graph.
Making a weird shape. It's going up and down and up and down and back down again.
Now let's review, okay? The red thermometer was the one that was over here on the far left. Okay? The orange thermometer is the one way over on the far right. You can't even see it because it's right up against the wall but not touching the wall. And then we had our blue thermometer and our green thermometer. Does anyone remember which ones those were? Which one's the deep and which one's the shallow? Okay, the shallow one is the green one. The near the top is our blue. What do we see happening with temperature of the blue line?
It's going.
It got higher.
Okay, it got higher, didn't it, Cheyenne? It got higher. And that thermometer probe is right at the top. What about the deep diver? What happened to our deep diver, which is our orange?
It got lower. Well, it also got higher. Yeah.
Oh, wait. No, excuse me. I'm sorry. Our deep diver was the green, wasn't it? The orange is over on that wall. That's my mistake. Next time we do this, to help us, we're going to label these.
Oh, that too.
That way it's a little easier to keep track of it.
At first it went up, then it went back down. It keeps going back down.
The blue is constantly at the top right now.
Yeah, look at that.
It was
Davin
low.
made a very good observation. Has the blue changed much?
No, but it's at the top where all the heat's at.
Which two probes have changed the most?
The red one and then the orange one.
The red and the orange.
They keep going past each other.
Now, as you see how they're going back and forth, is there any trend in the way they're going back and forth?
Yes, they're going
The
up.
opposite ways.
They're crisscrossing. Why are they crisscrossing?
Because it's mixing.
It's like when opposites do the like.
But it's also getting smaller, and then it's eventually going to be the same.
I love, okay, yeah, you're noticing, look at this. The peaks and the troughs. What is that when we go peak to peak?
The
That's a wavelength, right? Now, is the wave height or the amplitude changing?
wave height,
Yes.
it's getting smaller.
It is changing, but could we actually do a wavelength measurement on this graph of the peaks of top heat for that probe? Yeah, you could go from red to red. You could also do it with the orange to orange, right? Now, as we see this dynamic system, because we have hot and cold mixed, we know that density is going to cause the cold to go down, right? But when I released that paddle, was there energy present in both masses of water? Yes, there was. Which one had more energy?
The
Thermal energy. The hot, right? The red. So when we pulled that paddle up, all of a sudden that warmer mass was able to interact with that colder mass. And have you seen them truly mix yet?
No.
If we did, what would we see for a color, Gavin?
purple.
Yeah, we'd see purple. Now, we're going to do this again tomorrow. Okay? But what I want to challenge you to do now, we just watched this, and we still haven't totally analyzed our graph, and we had a whoopsie within like 2 minutes there. So we're going to have to do this again tomorrow and graph it to see how it changes. But I would like you to write down 5 more questions about what we just saw, and as many observations as you can remember that you haven't written down yet. So, without talking to anyone else, because you guys are getting a little social here and it's distracting from your learning and observing, I want you to sit down at a seat and I want you to write 5 more questions. When you're done with those 5 questions, I want to invite you over one at a time. You're each going to dip your hand in here.
Oh, no, I'm good.
Oh, it is freaky when you do that. If any of you have been water skiing, you maybe have experienced this phenomenon before, okay? So, write down your 5 questions. When you're done with your 5 questions, I want you to stand up, come on over, and you're going to practice dipping your hand in the tank. I'll turn the lights on so you guys can actually see.
I think eventually it'll start to mix and then it'll get purple.
Write that down as a prediction.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
It stopped recording again, Miss Parks.
Huh. I wonder if it just records for so long.
Well, it was set to go for 10 minutes. 60. Well, no, we went all the way then. We went correctly. That first time, though, it didn't do the full 10 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and stop recording.